I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
Wait!
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. Yeah, because you got nothing. You got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
Alright, this is King Bucho. Welcome to BDA Boxing, the boxing debate arena. Post-fight show right now. We're going to be taking phone calls. Our phone lines are already open. The number's on your screen. Call in. Let us know what you thought about the fight. If you're calling from the UK, you will pay long-distance fees. So make sure that you're willing to do that. If I see a number that's from outside the North America, I will prioritize it. Shout out to everybody in the chat: Bernard, Alan R, Nicholas, Ralph, Unreal, Draven, Grand G. Fuck, man. Yeah, guys, welcome to the show. Listen, I just wanna. I decided to do this show. I wasn't planning on doing it since we're gonna be having a post-fight show tomorrow. Since we have other fights coming up tonight. But yeah, I mean, I was just disappointed with this fight. What a boring ass fight. The clinching from both sides, which is horrible, and I was expecting a lot more from Anthony Joshua, former heavyweight champion, unified heavyweight champion. He was supposed to get this guy out of there, and he didn't. So we gotta tell the truth over here. He didn't look good, and it's time to start questioning his career, where it's headed. Is it headed anywhere? Some people are saying that he should fight Deontay Wilder. That'd be an interesting fight. But when I'm talking about or questioning his career, of course he can fight Wilder or other. You know, he could fight a UFC fighter, one of those circus fights. What I'm really focused here on is whether he can become a top contender again or a world champion. I don't even think he can. By the way, let me just check the phone lines here. Make sure everything's fine. Guys, the phone lines are ready. And I will begin to call some people here on Discord. I'm going to start with Mr. BDA. And yeah, guys, just let me know what you guys think, man. Just, I don't know. I'm just disappointed with this guy. Disappointed for the crowd, for people who paid for this fight over there in the UK. Alright, we have Mr. BDA. I'm calling Jimmy. Gonna call Recognize. I'm gonna call Gonzalo. Has like 6 accounts. I don't even know which one is. I guess this one. Yeah, Mr. BDA, can you hear me?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah. What do you think about the fight?
Well, listen, I'll have more to say about this on the morrow. But for the moment, I'll make it brief. It was a good fight, more competitive than I expected, and I can only imagine how much more competitive it could have been had the referee done his due diligence and actually warned or taken points off of, penalized Anthony Joshua for all that clinching. He was the one initiating the clinches. And I've said it before, AJ is not a good character. He's a narcissistic personality. That's why he always plays victim. Oh, I got so much pressure on me. It's true, he's got pressure. You know what? You don't think Tyson Fury's got pressure on him? You don't think Uzi's got pressure on him? All these guys have pressure on them. But you usually don't hear about him bitching about it. But that's what AJ does. Now, okay, fine. That's not the biggest gripe I have with him. The biggest gripe I have is how he acts after fights. Remember what he did against Usyk in the rematch after the fight? Grabs the mic, starts making it about him. A diatribe, 5-minute diatribe. I've heard more stable personalities in insane asylums, let me tell you. And then people defend him. The AJ sycophants. Well, I mean, he put a lot into the rematch. I mean, wouldn't you be disappointed? Of course I'd be disappointed. I wouldn't be rambling like a maniac when it's the other guy's time to shine. And now today, after all that clinching, he's got the goal to go to, fucking push. Oh, he didn't shove him, but he did that thing there where he grabbed Franklin's head after the fight and started like, little buddy, like fronting his head. And then he jumps on him and starts clinching him again, as if to say, you were the one clinching me. And then he puts his palm on Franklin's face and starts pushing back. This guy's fucking out of his mind, man. And Derek James, I'm pretty sure I think he did start off slow because they wanted to work things out. But after the 6th round, he was trying his best to get this guy out of there. He couldn't do it. His nose was bloody. He was grabbing behind the head and trying to catch Franklin with uppercuts. Again, incompetent homosexual referee, did nothing about it. It's just a disgraceful performance from the referee. And I dare say, I'm going to ask you, Butcher. I don't know if you want to go into it, but from 1 to 10, how would you rate Joshua's performance?
5? 4? I mean, he was supposed to knock this guy out. Let's not sugarcoat it. Oh, he was a very tough opponent, complicated guy. No. He was there to get knocked the fuck out. It's a comeback fight. It's a comeback fight. What are you doing in a comeback fight? You knock the guy out. You dominate him at least. This is pathetic. This was terrible. Like, I'm really starting to question his fucking career. By the way, Alan Ori in the chat, he says Fury calling his agent right now. This is a fight that Tyson Fury is gonna be looking for. And if you're Joshua, why not?
Butcher, did it seem to you like AJ was very stiff and tense early on?
It looked exactly. He looked like that Joshua that you don't want to see, the one that's completely stiff. And you think that he worked on that, especially after fighting Usyk.
Mm-hmm. Hey man, listen.
Yeah.
For as much shit that people give Fury, I don't think I've ever seen him look close to having a panic attack in the ring. We've seen Joshua suffer panic attacks during and after fights. So, listen, I know it's
you don't understand. He has pressure. See, other fighters don't have pressure. He has more pressure than a contender that nobody knows, that's promoted by a nobody, that if he loses his fight, that's like a fight in the top 10, that you'll never hear from him again. He has more pressure than a guy like Joshua. Because a loss for some of these guys that nobody knows, they just disappear. It's over for them.
Well, okay, this is a call-in show, so I already see people in the chat disagreeing with what we're saying. Some even are calling us haters. Call in and tell us what we're saying that's wrong. What are we making shit up? Are we distorting things? Call in and let us know. Because I listen, some people are saying, well, it was a comeback fight. Okay, was he fighting Fury in there? He was supposed to look like this? Well, it's not like he got knocked down in his last performance. So why is he shook? That's what I'm wondering.
Well,
and again, the clinching. Where's the clinching? That's all I want to say.
Was this guy dealing white? No, it
was this guy dealing white? No.
It was a guy named Franklin. Nobody fucking knows.
I tell you what, though. I think Joshua actually has an easier time with white. Because I don't know if you've seen, but white tends to blow up during fights, in between fights, the weight. So I don't think he's more stiff too. Joshua Franklin was actually doing a very good job of slipping shots. Again, the clinching, if there wouldn't have been any clinching from AJ, I think this fight would have been even harder. So I give Franklin credit too. Listen, Joshua's fought better fighters than this and looked better. So I don't know, man. Maybe, was it Derek James? Maybe he implemented a new technique or something, and that's what fucked with Joshua. I don't know, but you cannot deny that he looked tense during the entire fight from the first round on.
Exactly.
I think there's
Jane
a super
Else in
chat.
the chat. Thank you for the super chat. He says, "Do you guys think Franklin is a lot tougher than we thought he was? He did just go 24 rounds with White and Joshua. Okay, so he went 12 rounds with Joshua. He went 12 rounds with White. He's a tough guy. Well, he went before Joshua fought him. He just went 12 rounds with Dylan White. Now he went 12 rounds, and that's not because he's tough. Joshua's supposed to knock him out. That's just all I'm saying. And this is most people were predicting this. Now, what are we all surprised at what's this guy again? Franklin's performance? Did he show us something that we've never seen before? No, it's the same fucking Franklin that we saw before that should have got knocked out. It's Joshua that didn't show us anything. It's Joshua that has been exposed right now. That's pretty much it. It's not that Franklin he's better than we thought. What did fucking he show you in the fight?
Even Joshua after the fight admitted he should have knocked him out. So we're not making shit up. We're not reaching to criticize him. He said it himself. And again, the bad sportsmanship after the fight, him essentially sexually harassing Franklin after the bell. I mean, come on, man. I do wonder how the AJ fangirls are going to spin this one. Maybe they're going to make it out to be as if Franklin's the one that jumped on him after the fight. They're going to Photoshop it or maybe a deep fake or something. I don't know.
AJ was clinching as well, as you said. It's pathetic. He gave me flashbacks from fucking Vladimir Klitschko. By the way, Dennis F. from Boston, thank you for your contribution.
90 seconds.
I gave AJ a C-. Glad you're keeping it real. Thank you. Of course. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you. I also saw the chat's moving fast, so I missed who he was. Somebody said that Franklin was the one that was dipping below the waist. I did not see any of that. I'd have to rewatch the fight. I'm going to take your word for it, but I didn't see him like dipping below the waist. That's something that Devin Haney does, where he dips to his right. Franklin wasn't doing that. Franklin was trying to come in, changing angles, dipping down, but he wasn't dipping down below the waist. Unless maybe AJ is so big, so tall that you just take one little dip down and boom, you're at his crotch level. I don't know.
Guys, the phone lines are open. Call in. Let us know what you thought about this fight. Were you disappointed? What's the future for Anthony Joshua?
Butcher, what do you think happens now if Fury and AJ were to tangle?
Mm-hmm. Great question. I think it's a boring ass fight. I don't think AJ gets stopped. I think that's what some people are thinking. I don't think he gets up. I think there's a lot of clinching in the fight. And it goes 12 rounds. And Fury wins the fight, obviously, but it's gonna be a boring ass fight. It's gonna be a boring ass fight. And I really think that this is what Tyson Fury is looking for. He wants this fight. It's pathetic.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a lot of people feel like I'm not a big Fury. I'm not a big heavyweight guy. There's not that many entertaining fight. I mean, there's interesting fights that they can make on paper, but whether it comes to entertainment, again, Fury and Joshua, it's going to be a clinch fest. I wouldn't be too happy to see that one, but I would pick. I agree with you. I would pick Fury, and I picked Fury in 2020 when most people were picking Fury in 2020 and 2021 before AJ obviously lost all his belts to Usyk. So, I mean, it is what it is, man. It's Joshua. I know he was working on things. He did land some big shots. He stayed composed in terms of his guard. He's got that tight guard now. But man, just way too much clinching, too much bad acidic character from him after the bell. And
Can I ask you a
I don't
question?
know, man.
Do you like the way Joshua throws some of his punches? Just the technique behind it. I know he's a big guy, but can you break that down? Maybe the jab or the way he throws the right hand. He doesn't turn on that right hand.
Well, he doesn't need to go all out with the right hand because I think perhaps that was one of the aspects that they were working on with Derrick James's fight, which was you don't need to go big all the time. Just touch, tap, tap. I mean, he was 250 something pounds in there. You don't need to be fucking turning over every shot because in past fights that's what he was doing. But also, like I said, you got to give Franklin credit for he prepared very well. Like he stepped up against Joshua. You know what I mean? It's like he had to be better than ever. But still, like I said, listen. Oh, here's the other question, Joe Bucho. Based on what we saw today, though, what do you think happens between Joshua and let's say Joey Joyce?
Joe Joyce might knock him out.
I mean, listen,
stiff like this. When they get into exchanges, Jojo's gonna get the better out of Joshua. And what's up with Joshua extending that his left arm all the time? Like to get some distance.
Yeah, the
but
stiff
he doesn't
arm.
even.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then he doesn't do anything after that. He doesn't work with that.
How tall is Jermaine Franklin? He's got to be like 6'1", I think.
Yeah, maybe.
Let me check. I'm gonna check.
6'1", 6'2".
Jermaine Franklin. What's 1 meter? 6'2" tall. So he's pretty short for a heavyweight by today's standards.
Yeah.
And usually this is the type of guy that Joshua would have, stopped at some point. Like Carlos Takam, for example. Even though that was a very sketchy stoppage right there. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just it was an interesting fight. But I'll just say this about Joyce: a lot of people now have him as the juggernaut and the dark horse. But he was getting hit a lot by Dubois. It's just Dubois couldn't keep. He didn't have the wherewithal to keep dancing around him for 12 rounds. Joshua is a better fighter than Dubois. It's just he's still just too gosh darn stiff. And his stamina, that's the big question, whether he's going to be able to surmount that and survive 12 rounds against Joyce. But I don't think they're going to go anywhere near him. I think the plan is to put him in there against Dylan White or Fury if Fury chooses to accept the fight.
Yeah, good point. I mean, the Dylan White fight would be a somewhat big event over there in the UK, I would say. But so would the Joyce fight. But Joyce fight, I mean, he's ready for a title shot. So he's not going to... Well, I don't know. Let's take some phone calls.
All right.
301, you're on the air. 301.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, what's up?
So, yeah, I agree with most of what you were saying. Obviously, a lot left to be desired from this performance. It was not very good. And, yeah, Joshua just looks on the decline, whichever way you look at it. I thought he looked incredibly stiff, like you said. He looked like he didn't want to be there, and a lot of people mentioned the Reeves fight as this like big turning point for him that kind of took his will. But I think it was really the Klitschko fight. There was like an article after that he apparently told Rob McCracken that he'd never want to go through that kind of thing again when he had to pick himself up off the canvas, which kind of just tells you that he wasn't really meant to be a fighter. He's a good athlete. He had good hand speed, never really great foot speed. But you look at even the streak he went on that we all praised him for after Klitschko, there were still kind of iffy performances outside of Povetkin, I feel like. That was really his best fight. The Parker fight was very boring, kind of similar to this. And the second Ruiz fight were just a lot of jab and move and hold. And the Takam fight was, like you said, a kind of sketchy stoppage, and it didn't really look like Joshua was in control the whole fight. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seemed like there are a lot of guys who beat this version of Joshua, and a lot of people mentioned Wilder. I actually think Dubois could beat him. I definitely would favor Joyce. I mean, the fact of the matter is he doesn't look like he wants to fight, and I really didn't like. I don't know if you picked up. In his post-fight interview, he said he didn't really look at his weight. And I'm kind of sitting there thinking, like, how can you possibly be in a boxing camp, right? Apparently, if you're just boxing, just sparring, hitting the bag, how do you put on 20 pounds, Like, that's 10% of your body weight you're going to put on and stay lean. That's I don't know.
Wait, what did he say? What did he say about his weight?
He said the interview asked him, what was the weight an issue, and he said, I don't really pay attention to my weight. Okay. In his, big stiff lumbering voice. He was like, I would just do a lot of boxing while sparring. I just go how my body feels. That kind of shit.
Jimmy, let's get Jimmy in here. Jimmy, what do you think about that statement that Joshua doesn't care about his weight? He's not looking at his weight.
Oh yeah, that was a ridiculous statement, especially when he said after the end of the first fight, after the end of the second fight, look at me, look at you. Look how big I am. Like, first off, I liked him better under Garcia. I think Derek James fucked that kid's head all up. I thought he looked better under Derek James. Didn't you think? Well, I don't know about you guys. I thought he looked better against Usyk. He looked more confident. At least he looked more knew what he was trying to do. It was just Usyk was so good. It was hard for him to implement what he wanted to do. But he didn't look uncertain of what he wanted to do. He just couldn't do it. And there he was and scared to get fucking hit. Holy shit! He was fighting like he was the little guy. I don't know, man.
Exactly.
I'm just very.
Yeah, Jimmy, I mean,
seriously, I've seen more spirited fights, and then he waits to the end of the fight to get aggressive. Bing, bing, bing. Final bell. Fuck it up and rip you apart. You had fucking 45 minutes to fucking punch the dude in the face, guy.
What an asshole.
You know, you gonna wait to. You know what I mean? I wasn't impressed at all with Joshua's performance. The dude was way too heavy. That's always been Joshua's problem. Is he's too thick up top. I say it all the time. The more muscle you carry, the more oxygen has to go through the muscles to keep them things oxygenated, which takes your fucking legs away from you. Completely disappointed right across the board with that performance. And the fucking stoppage in the fight before was ridiculous. But that's what I got to say.
Caller, go ahead.
Yeah, Jimmy, I completely agree with what you said. I think that Garcia was a much better coach for him. It looks like he was really forcing Joshua to do things he wasn't comfortable with, which is what he needs. He needs someone to tell him what to do. He shouldn't be dictating the course of his career. He doesn't have that kind of personality. He's not, a leader, and I think that's a common thing. Most men are blessed with the ability to follow, not to lead, and Joshua is definitely a follower. And I think, it's very disappointing he split up with Garcia. I think it's a kind of diva move, and I agree with wholeheartedly. I think his back is way too muscular. It doesn't serve him well. Every time he wants to extend on a punch, he's right there, open. And what I also noticed is he wanted to do some kind of catch and counter, either with the left hook or the right uppercut. But it looked like he was thinking about it first, like he wanted to throw it before he actually caught the punch. And every time a punch caught him on the guard, he looked like he was scared to go out, like he wasn't able to deal with it. And it may have been because his nose got broken early. I know it makes it hard to get oxygen in your brain. It makes you more susceptible to getting hit, but, that's just a fight game, And it's I wonder if he had, very heavy sparring coming in. I know Derek James is a big fan of that, and if a guy's getting beat up in sparring, that's what took Mike Tyson's will to fight away. Just having fights in camp to where he was already battered by the time he came in. So I don't know what you think about it, Jimmy.
It could be.
Are they sure his nose was broken? Is that 100%?
Well, I don't know, but he was bleeding out of the nose, and Derek James told him not to blow it. So maybe one.
Okay, all right. So there you go. If he told him not to blow it, then James was probably thinking it was broken. That's a definite sign if it's broken, because your eyes will swell shut.
Exactly.
But the thing is, but a broken nose, even a broken nose, as long as it's not shattered and his pieces floating around, you can still fight. It actually kind of goes numb. You just don't want to blow it. That's key. But that can become aggravating because you want to, just as a habit, you want to, blow your nose. But you just got to jam. They jam it sticks up his nose, the wooden sticks with the shit on it in between the rounds.
They were stiffing the Q-tip up there, trying to put it back in place. But the reason I mention it is because it was broken, I think, or started bleeding at the end of the first round, which is kind of suspect. If you're coming in, it seems like you're coming in kind of battered. If you're already, because he didn't take many punches in the first round. I think he took a jab or something. Oh, the other thing I noticed is Franklin at times was able to just walk in and land a 1-2. I really didn't like seeing that. Joshua's head was just right there in the center. It looks like he took a lot of effort for him just to dip. Like he just was totally out of it. But yeah, I saw the Amir Khan face. He had a panic attack coming into the fight. He looked like he really didn't want to be there. Every time he clinched, he was looking around. That's always a sign a fighter doesn't feel comfortable in there.
Definitely, he has mental.
He had. Sorry, Bucho.
No, we're gonna have to move on to another phone call. But caller, thanks for calling. All right, call back again next time.
Good call.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, let's just go to a super chat before we continue here. Hold on, I can read it. It's Chris K. Thank you for your contribution, man. He says AJ looked great against Usyk today. Terrible. no rhythm, bad technique, slow, tying up, stopping to think, harsh, but I have high expectations of him. Exactly, I completely agree with Chris K, man. Just everything just looked horrible for Joshua today.
And when you're coming off two losses too, like you wanted to get the public, you had that whole place turn out for you. They're in there, oh, Anthony Joshua, like they're doing all that shit, and you go out there and you do that stinker. You come in heavy, you're
Jimmy,
clinching.
That's what
you
said.
did everything you could not to make a fight out of it. Did you? I'll tell you right now. Is anybody like, oh man, like I can't wait to see him fight again, or like I can't wait to pay a pay-per-view to watch him fight fucking Wilder? At this point, Wilder will fucking probably stop him. If Wilder fought that version of Joshua tonight, I would have fucking Wilder would have stopped him.
Jimmy,
that hesitant.
Jimmy, I said I felt bad. I felt bad for the fans who actually showed up to this fight.
Oh yeah,
you know he's coming off of 2 losses. Give this guy a reason why you want to see him again.
That was his mission, dude. That's how it talked. Oh, who's that? Is that BDA? You back?
Who's that?
Yeah, well, I was always here. I was just muted. You guys mentioned the give something to the fans. This fight, from what I heard, was selling awfully, or I mean, it wasn't selling well before the fight. It looked like it was a decent sized crowd. What happened? Do you guys think they started giving tickets away, or slashing the price, or what happened?
Last minute buyers too. Especially if the rumors that it's not selling well, then that's like. If I'm planning on going to an event and I hear the tickets aren't selling well, then I wait till I fucking buy them at the will call window that day because they're going to be slashed down. You know what I mean? So that's what I would do, and maybe a lot of people do that because it seemed like a decent crowd. But listen, he said, I'm a murderer. The talk that he did going into this fight, those fucking videos, I'm doing this by myself, I'm training, the whole Joshua back. Derek James was I didn't understand that fucking. From the get-go, I didn't understand that move. And
Jimmy, sometimes I wonder if that's the PR people that tell him, hey, listen, because you need a new trainer just to mix things up. But, I mean, it's switching trainers. So, I mean, he's not going to last with Derek James. I guarantee you, if he keeps fighting for the next 2 years, at least 2 years, he's going to switch trainers again. What's the point?
Yeah.
Or it's either because the PR people are telling him that, or it's just insecurity.
It's PR, man.
Like, I need
that was him. That was all him. I doubt it was PR. I bet you that was all him. He was angry after the last loss, and he felt he wanted to blame somebody. Human nature. You're gonna fucking change up your camp. But Garcia had him fighting much better. This performance was horrible. He let the fans down. He let himself down. I know Eddie Hearn's making all kinds of excuses. He's, of course, saying, "Well, 3 trainers," but you weren't saying that before the fight. He was all fucking, he's got to kill him. He's got to go out and, because he put expectations on his own fighter too by saying he's got to go out and look sharp. He doesn't just got to go out and win. And listen, that kid, frankly, came to survive. He wasn't looking to mix it up either. He'd throw some jabs and duck his head in. But, he was talking like he was a killer in the best shape of his life. First off, that's the best shape of your life, fucking Flabio. Yeah. I hate to see you when you're in bad shape. Yeah. What the fuck?
This guy, he's not he was there to get either completely outboxed, get knocked out. That's it. Let's not start making this guy, well, he's better than we thought. You'll never see Franklin again. Trust me. By the way, let's take another phone call. 470, you're on the air, 470.
What's up, yo? You can hear me?
Yeah, welcome, man. Is this Never Sober? Who is this?
What's up? Yeah, it's Never Sober, bro, from the Discord.
What's up, man?
Did you guys notice before the fight, before Anthony Joshua got in the ring in the back, he had blood on his tank top? I think he had something up with his nose before he got in the ring. And he seemed to have trouble with it the whole fight. Did anybody else notice that?
No, we didn't. So what
the announcer talked about it, and I believe, I don't mean to cut you off, Bucho, but the announcer talked about it. I believe somebody said it was a spilled drink. I don't know how much you can take what you want from that. That's what he said.
No, I think something was up with Anthony Joshua, bro. He looked like in the 3rd round, he looked like he'd been fighting for 9 rounds already. And Franklin looked noticeably different. I feel like Joshua was looking spaced out, bro, the whole time. And something was up with him, this performance. He didn't look like he wanted to be there. Am I still coming through all right, or am I coming in and out?
You're good.
Loud and clear.
This is what some
I think
said.
he wanted to be there, bro, and he looked like he was getting hurt by Franklin's shots. I don't know what was up with him, bro.
This guy has he has mental issues. We've known this for a long time since the Ruiz fight. And every time he loses, he comes out. He says, "I have all this pressure." Like everybody has pressure, like we just said earlier. This guy, he's not mentally strong.
Yeah, that could be what it is. If it don't come easy for him, then he kind of folds up. Exactly. But yeah, I think Andy Ruiz, took his spirit or something because his whole style changed after the Andy fight, and he was looking good with Robert Garcia, and then he wants to switch over to Derrick James, and all he did in Texas, it looked like he did was juice up or something because he didn't look any better. He didn't have any kind of strategy.
Except and if you look at over his fights,
he was holding his head, cutting him.
And if you look at all his fights too, Carla, right? I mean, I'm never sober, dude. If you look at him as a whole, okay, stand out performance against Klitschko, albeit a 41-year-old Klitschko who had your ass down. And I can't remember if that fight was coming. I thought Klitschko was coming on pretty strong at the end too. But I'm a 41-year-old Klitschko. But then after that, really, what is it? What did you do? You were terrible against Tacom, boring as hell against. Was it? Well, he's always in boring fights. The Australian. So if you look at it, see. All right, so he wins gold. Of course, that made him. He had the looks to the body. And then he has that Klitschko fight. But after that, it's a lot of fucking stinkers. A lot of excuse making too. Since then, maybe too much was thrown on him too soon. He just was never the fighter he was hyped to be. Who knows? I'm just saying.
Never saw where
I don't
anything
think
else.
the response. I couldn't hear Jimmy's response because it was coming in and out. So I'm gonna have to just get off and then listen back.
Oh,
so
sorry, buddy.
I think Joshua looked weird. He looked sick or something. But yeah, he looked really bad, dude. And Anthony Fury will knock him out. Andy will knock him out. He's food right now. He like I don't want to fight no more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say, y'all.
Point, man.
Take it easy.
All right, take care, man. Yeah. There's something that
do we have another phone call, or can I say? I wanted to say something about that.
More phone calls, but
wow, you sound really loud today. That's awesome.
Go ahead, BJ. Who sounds like? I don't know.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. I was trying to. Yeah, I don't know. Bucho, you sounding low to me now, even though you sound well.
Bucho sounds low. I can barely hear him.
All right, hold on.
But he sounds.
Is it better?
Okay on YouTube.
Yo.
Yeah, now you sound better.
All right.
Don't tell me
better.
Yeah. Anyway, Jimmy brought up the whole thing about whether AJ was always a hype job. I mean, I hesitate to use the word hype job, but he was definitely given certain benefits because he was such a big star even before he became a professional. But I'll say this. I see a lot of people going, oh, why do so many people hate AJ? Really? You still have to ask that question after what he did once the final bell rang, going at molesting essentially Jermaine Franklin, and the tirade against Usyk after the second fight, the fact that this guy has publicly said, don't buy from white-owned businesses, buy from black-owned only, the fact that he has admitted that he looks up to Afro-Anglo drug dealers. Those are the guys he looks upward to, not sports people, not fellow sports athletes or anything. No, he looks up to drug dealers. So, I mean, come on, factor that in. If you're a hardcore AJ fan and you defend him at every turn, you're the guy with the problem, not the people that dislike him.
Great points. All right, let's take another phone call here. 619, you're on the air.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Shit, man. AJ is done. He's been done. Fucking Reese took his balls, you know what I mean? I mean, I agree with Jimmy. AJ, I don't think he was a hype job. But honestly, he's mentally shook, man. He can't take a punch. His eyes tell you everything. I mean, what else can I say, man? Like he's done. I don't think he fights Fury next. He fights a tune-up, and then he cash in with Fury and maybe Wilder. But at this point, Fury and Wilder fucking put him out. You know what I mean?
I agree, man. Jimmy, go ahead.
And if I said hype job, I apologize. I probably, because I don't like using that too. I meant like overhyped. Like there was just like before I even saw him fight, I heard all about him. You know what I mean? Like you said, because he won that gold, yes, and that Klitschko fight was exciting. But again, that 41-year-old Klitschko almost had him out of there. But he did win. It was a great fight. But after that, I've been wanting to see that dude fight again. I wanted to, you know what I mean? And he plays it safe against guys he shouldn't play it safe against. I just haven't seen many performances from this dude that left me wanting to see him fight again. Tonight disgusted me.
Didn't he fight Povetkin after Klitschko? Because that fight was shit. I think he started going down here after the Povetkin fight. Right?
I don't even remember, but it could be. It was a gradual process, a gradual decline. Yes.
And then he fought what? Reese after that? I think no.
Forgot.
Did he fight Reese after?
Who did he fight after Klitschko, guys, in the chat? Forgot. I don't know. It was.
Was it Takam?
You know what? Let me look it up.
Anyways, he went downhill after that. Then he fought Reese. And he thought that was going to be an easy fight. He went down to Florida. He was banging some bitches. And what happened after that? He got knocked the fuck out. And that's it. Yeah, and that's all she wrote.
He was doing Instagram fucking shoots the day before the fight. He was in New York with his shirt off doing Instagram shits. Like, yeah, you know.
Okay. So Vladimir Klitschko. Then he fought Takam, Parker, Povetkin, and then he got stopped by Ruiz.
See, that's what I'm saying. All those fights sucked. He's had one great fight. Everybody's been waiting for that fucking repeat of Klitschko. How many years ago was that? Exactly. 5?
Caller, are you surprised Anthony Joshua became a world champion?
No, because at first, like I said, he was good. I mean, you go to the Olympics. I mean, you got decent crowd, decent skills. You know what I mean? And after Klitschko, because he got dropped with the Klitschko, I think he just with Klitschko. I mean,
oh boy, caller, you're breaking up. Okay, I think we lost.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back. Go ahead.
All right. So anyway, with Klitschko, he did good. He had balls back then, but after that, I don't know what happened. I think maybe the hype, the celebrity status went up, and after that, like you can started to see the decline. I mean, against Takam and then Parker, he did all right. He should have sparked these guys out. He should have sparked fucking Takam, Parker, Reese, and even tonight. I mean, I bet you I don't fuck with Wilder. Like he would have knocked this fool out in less than 8. I'm telling you.
It's possible. He looked very stiff tonight. So yeah, it's highly likely. All right, caller, we gotta move on. But thank you for calling, all right? Take care.
All right, now thanks for having me.
All right, now we're getting a lot of calls, so I'm gonna have to do this efficiently. Chris K, thank you for your second contribution. He says AJ equals anabolic juice, should have stuck with Robert Garcia. Absolutely. He should have stuck with Robert Garcia. This is what we were talking about. Just Brian, thank you for your contribution. He says, how's personality worse? How's personality is worse, Joshua's or
whose? Yeah, I think he meant to say whose.
Oh, okay, sorry. Whose personality is worse, Joshua or Wilder's? Personally, I think Wilder is still worse. Absolutely, man. That's
absolutely worse.
No doubt about
Wilder.
it. Yeah, Brian, come on. Absolutely, we agree with you, man.
I will say though, AJ is giving him a run for his money.
Yeah, you could say that. All right, let's take another phone call here then. 773, you're on the air. Oh boy.
This is the problem with boxing. Prime example. None of these guys are proven. I feel like none of these guys are proven. Pucho, BDA. They're just not proven. These guys can go get 40, 50 fights, and they'll have 2 decent wins on their record. And all of a sudden, they're the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. All-time great, this and that. And that's boxing in a nutshell. Absolute propaganda. Got these dudes fooled. They're fooled. I mean, there's countless examples of these guys who got nobody, trash resumes, but all of a sudden they're pound for pound, top 2, top 3. and it's just a joke.
Name me a boxer right now that's a real boxer, not a hype job.
Let me think right now. Usyk.
Okay. Good answer. All right, so you're saying Joshua is a hype job. He's always been a hype job. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, he's always been a hype job. You know, he gets these wins over 40-year-old Klitschko, and all of a sudden he's holy shit because it's a big name who reigned over the division, and all of a sudden he gets all the praise of beating a washed-up fighter. That's how it goes typically in boxing, passing of the torch type thing. But really, you beat an old washed-up Klitschko who's years out of the game. You know what I mean? It's a complete joke. I'm not down with it. I'm not buying what they're selling. And there's another countless examples of that of fighters who their resume it's trash. It's absolute dog trash, dog poop, pooey butt. And once they fight someone really good, they get exposed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Who else is a good example of that? A good example would be, I don't know, someone like...
Is Crawford
a
hype job?
I mean, even Crawford, this dude, his resume is nothing special. It's really nothing special. I think he's really good. I think he's talented, but it's not like his resume's packed with world-class fighters. It seems like a lot of his fighters are B-level fighters. And
all right, Kevin, we gotta move on, man. We get the point. He's a hype job.
Yeah,
there's so many. All right. Anything else? All right. I think he bounced. 347. You're on the air. 347.
Gentlemen, Bucho, BDA, other good folk, how you doing? I called the other day, actually, so it's good speaking with you again.
Oh, we remember your voice. Go ahead.
Well, if we kind of examine the history of the heavyweight division starting around 2012, we'll see that there were these names that were popping up. And one was Fury, one was Wilder, and one was AJ, to kind of see who was going to be the future of the heavyweight division. And we all saw that Fury was kind of ranked the last, but he was the most flamboyant and out in front and most Ali-type personality. And then we also had Wilder, who represented the Umu spirit of America. And we had Joshua, who was this kind of lab creation in terms of, and he was the number one guy. He was the Olympian, and he was being promoted as the best that was going to be put forward, and he had the most finances behind him, and underwear commercials and that kind of thing going behind him. And the first guy, the guy that struck first, and there were also two outsiders. There was King Kong Ortiz, that was outside of that circle, just outside of that circle, and there was Joseph Parker, that was just outside of that circle. And one of these bunch was going to face the Klitschkos and knock them off. Well, Vlad Klitschko at that point. And so Fury struck first, and Fury did his job. In other words, the worst guy out of that bunch that was being promoted was the best. And he struck first, and then it was Anthony Joshua who beat Klitschko, but it was Fury first. And Wilder was still on the sidelines, and it was, all these flaws were being pointed out about him. But Wilder never lived up to expectations besides his right hand. And Fury had them all. Fury had all of the qualifications except for the good looks. And he's never going to be an underwear model. He's never going to be the new face of Britain. And the narrative there was that it was Anthony Joshua was the best of the best of the best. everything was put behind him. But he ended up being the worst out of the whole bunch. And I think that is what we're looking at when we think about what is his future. And so I take it to mean, where's his future as a force in the heavyweight division? That's the way I'm understanding the question. And so what I would say is, no, he has no future in the heavyweight division in terms of a real power. He may have taken the cash-out option and fight Fury, which is the fight that never happened. I mean, think about this for a second.
Wow.
Here are two guys on the same island that don't face each other. This is bizarre. It's a country of 70 million people on a very small place, one of the most densely populated countries on the planet. You have two British fighters that haven't faced each other. So that's the fight that should have happened several years ago, but Anthony Joshua had so much money behind him. Fury's a self-promoter. Anthony Joshua is a pure fabrication.
All right,
and I think that's what we're looking at. Anyway, gentlemen, thank you. So nice to speak with you again, and thanks for having me.
Thanks for that phone call. Call back again. Good points. Take care.
Fantastic phone call. Fantastic phone call, I must say.
Good points here. So out of all of them, I mean, Joshua, he's basically saying, he said it. He's a fabrication. He's plastic.
Which we gotta start. We gotta start talking like him. I don't know how you practice that type of voice, but one thing, Bucho, that I'd like to tell you is that you're wrong. Fuck, that guy's got a good voice, man. That's an NPR voice right there.
It is. It is. All right, let's take one more phone call here. 323, you're on the air. 323.
Hey, what's going on, you fellas? How are you? Don Madrazo's here. You know, I don't want to be too harsh on the guy and say that all his past accomplishments were nothing and he was just a hype job, because that's horseshit. He was good for the time and for the opponents that he had at the time, or else he wouldn't have beat him. I mean, think about it. He did struggle with Klitschko, I get that, but in the end, he beat Klitschko. I mean, he beat him in more decisive manner than Tyson Fury. And you know, I mean, one of the callers before said a lot of these guys aren't proven yet, and he was making a really good point there. I mean, once we have some of these champs get up there and start fighting guys that are really good, who's to say what will happen? We don't know how good Terrence Crawford is yet. He made a really good point. I mean, I've always felt Terrence Crawford has fought B-level fighters, even C-level fighters. It's hard, man. It's really hard when you're in a era of fighters that are not putting it on the line. And a lot of guys are not putting it on the line. There are very few guys doing that. So you're going to have these upsets. But with Joshua, in regards to Joshua, psychologically, I think he's done. I mean, I don't think first of all, he's fragmented. Look at Robert Garcia. Now he's got a new trainer. He couldn't find a trainer for a while. I don't know if you guys remember that, but between his original, who was the original trainer that he had for the Olympics and all that?
I have no idea. Who was it?
McCracken, I think.
McCracken, right. So he had McCracken, and then in between McCracken and Garcia, it was a while. He was shopping around. Remember, he went out to see Virgil Hunter. He came out to see Reynoso and other guys. And then he landed on Garcia, and then Garcia came out and said that he wasn't even in direct contact with them most of the time. It was just mostly Angel Fernandez that he had to communicate with. And that struck me as very odd, because it had Wilder vibes all over again, where Mark Breland couldn't get a hold of Wilder directly. He had to go through the other dipshit. But this is very strange, fellas. I don't know. It's a little sad. I don't know if you guys felt a little bad for him. I felt pretty bad for him. I think psychologically he's been affected by this whole change. It's you know, I don't think he's gonna bounce back, and that's the unfortunate part about it. It's an end of an era for him, and I think the next guy to get exposed like this is Fury. I mean, who the fuck has Fury fought that's really good?
Oh,
you can't say Wilder. Wilder's not a fucking good fighter. He's just not. Who has he fought that's really good?
Wait, hold on. What are you implying? What are you implying?
Been to get exposed like this. if people are coming out saying that Fury has been a hype job this whole time, well, what does that make? I'm sorry. What does that make Tyson Fury?
Oh my God!
I meant to say Tyson Fury.
Yeah. You're saying he's gonna get exposed by who?
I don't know. By someone good. I mean, he hasn't fought anyone good, so we don't know. There's a lot of question marks here. We don't know. There's a lot of question marks.
Go ahead and say it.
I'm kind of.
Go ahead and say it. Usyk.
How's that?
Usyk. That's what you're thinking about.
Well, I'm thinking about Usyk maybe, but I mean, what other heavyweights are out there that are fucking great?
Well, that's the thing.
Right now?
Maybe there's nobody that can expose AJ. Sorry, Fury. There's nobody that can expose Fury.
Fury. Yeah, the only one I can think of is Usyk, and he's the only guy that actually really, has proven a lot of himself, over the years. But it's a grim reminder of where we're at in the sport. There are no top heavyweights.
Good point. Good point. But I'm gonna hold you accountable for what you said about Fury, that he's a hype job, because you might be right. They might come. That's what you said. You said he's gonna get exposed, just like AJ and all of that.
Well, I'm just saying that based on who he's fought. He hasn't fought anybody, man. And the guy talks about retirement and I'm gonna fight 2 more fights and then I'm gonna retire undefeated and then he comes back and he fights Derek Chisora and then he comes back and he fights Dillian White. It's like, what are you doing, man? Like, what the fuck are you doing?
I kind of agree with Omar Gassis in the fact that Fury is the one that calls himself the best of all time and all that. So based on what he's saying, yeah, you could say that he would be exposed because he's calling himself the best of all time. I don't know.
I don't pay attention to what the fuck. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyways, we gotta move on. Thanks for the call. All right. Take care.
Take care, guys.
Good call. All right. Super chat. Chris K. Thank you for your contribution. He says Joshua's torso and shoulder arms out of sync. What do you guys think? He does look unsynchronized.
Second guess and everything. Sorry, BDA, you want to say something?
No, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no, I just don't think he looked sharp at all. He looked cautious, way too cautious. Mm-hmm. Listen, that kid Franklin has about an average KO ratio, but you can tell by his build, body by Taco, and that's where he trains or whatever, but Taco Bell. But no, seriously, you knew he wasn't a one-shot power puncher. If you go back and look at film on him, he just isn't. He's going to take you out by combination punching, rock you a little bit, maybe get you a little goofy with one shot, then jump in, pop, 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 pop. That's how he takes guys out. That's why anytime a shot caught Joshua, the first thing he did was tie up the dude's arms and then lean on his head. So it was like that was your plan to come in heavier than you've ever fought in your life, which has always been the problem with your conditioning. And then, then you say, okay, you saw the 255. I heard that on the scales. I'm like, okay, he's coming in just to destroy this dude. He's going to go to war with him and bang him out, get the crowd screaming. It's going to be a fight. Shitting me? I've seen squirrels fight harder for a fucking walnut in the backyard. That was ridiculous.
Yeah. By the way, open the gates. Thank you for your contribution. Really appreciate it, man. Thank you for supporting the show. Let's take another phone call. 562. You're on the air. 562.
What's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I was just thinking what Jimmy was saying. I thought it was going to be at war. I thought it was going to be trading back and forth. I was like, it's going to be great. It's going to be worth watching. What the hell? Kind of like, I've never seen Joshua do that much clinching. Yeah, you need to tie up the smaller guy. You got to tire him out. But what the hell, man? Like, I thought him versus White a second time, Joshua and White might be after this. But I'm like, that'd be a piss poor fight after seeing what I did tonight. I don't know what to say. It's disappointing as hell.
Good point. Good point. I mean, see, this is what fans are now saying. The fans that showed up to that fight, fans who watched the fight like you. What are we gonna expect from Joshua next time? We're expecting the same fucking bullshit. And this wasn't smart from AJ at all. It is his comeback fight, man. He's supposed to knock this guy out, and he provides us with this shitty performance.
Let's say to make the Fury fight, everyone's going in now knowing Fury's going to beat the fuck out of him. Like, if Fury or Joshua wants to, like, you know, have another training camp and bulk up and try and let his hands go, cool. But he ain't winning it. That's the end of him. He's going to be 4 losses, and he should seriously consider retiring if that fight is made. Unless he's going to do another tune-up and fight Dillian White again or some other guy. It's just all, you know, going worse for nothing. So
I agree.
I
agree. He doesn't become a world champion again for sure. Anyway, anything else, caller?
He ain't getting. Do you guys know why he got rid of Robert Garcia? By the way, after the Usyk fight.
No,
because he lost.
Guys, do you know in the on Discord why he got rid of Robert Garcia?
Yeah, blame somebody. Wasn't that 2 losses in a row with Garcia, or was that only 1?
No, that was his first fight with Robert Garcia in his corner.
He just wanted to, he just wanted to change, probably because he lost, and that way, if you change your fight, you know, it sends a message. Maybe it wasn't me. Maybe even mentally, it kind of tells him. Instead, he should have stuck with him because that was horrible. The game plan was horrible. He has a suspect chin. I bet she's been getting fucking dropped in sparring because he fights like a guy who does not want to be in fights.
Exactly. When he's like clinching that much, you can see he can still let his hands go, but he doesn't have the speed and the aggression he used to.
90 seconds.
His first fight against Dillian White, that first round AJ would have, you know, that would have killed Wilder. That would have been a better fight for Fury. It's not what he used to be, sadly. And I don't get it. Why he keeps changing trainers. He looks sluggish. He just looks like he doesn't want it anymore. I don't get it.
All right. We'll call it. We got to move on. Thanks for the phone call, all right? We got a lot of calls here.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Bye.
See you, man. All right. Let's take another phone call here. 205. You're on the air.
205. Seconds.
The fuck? Why is this telling me?
What's happening? What's up, family? Uncle Charles. I know you got a long line, BDA, but let me just say this. This was not just American history. This was American tragedy. This is what I call American tragedy. Should go down in the history books from generation to generation. Let me tell you something, man. They said certain fights make fighters. Well, I'm telling you, AJ lost himself in that ring with that Mexican. See, he saw all that stomach. He saw all them buttermilk biscuits and all them ham hocks and that barbecue. He said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna get him on out here." And that Mexican had arms with hands, and he could fight. And somewhere in that fight, AJ lost something, and he never been the same. See, AJ is not prepared, and I was just like,
10 seconds.
We might well call AJ the dancing bear, because I believe if a damn bear is slow, how in the hell can he catch you and eat you? You're supposed to be faster than the damn bear. This is what he is, the dancing bear. Now, I'm going to say this in closing. See, he wasn't prepared, which he should have been prepared today. I'm just like AJ. And I was shopping at the grocery store and pushing my basket. And I went around the aisle, too. My basket hit another basket. I looked up. I didn't see nobody. I looked down. It was a little boy. I said, "Excuse me, little man. You need to watch where you're going. I'm not a little man. I'm a grown-ass man." I said, "Not from where I'm standing." And then he come out from behind the basket and headbutted me in the fucking stomach. All of a sudden, I'm on the floor, and after a few seconds, BDA, I realized I was getting my ass handed to me by Danny DeVito. And I couldn't do nothing about it. Until that little gun fell out of his pocket, and I took off running. See, I wasn't prepared, but I'm prepared now. And AJ is done. If he get in now with Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury, he might as well end his career. He is done. He's through. It's over. And I feel sorry for the guy. But that fight between him and that Mexican changed him some kind of way. Now, if he want to get back to where he need to get back, he need to start riding around in a Cadillac with some killers. And that way he can get that back. You got to be a killer in this game. You can't be, "Well, I like him. I show a lot of respect to him." Man, I don't want to hear that, Mitch. You just got your ass whooped. I don't want to hear that. And that's all I got to say. Be prepared, ladies and gentlemen. Because if you're not prepared, the same thing happened to me will happen to you. And that's all I got to say.
All right, thanks for calling. Great advice here. Take care. It's true. You never know. Never underestimate a midget like Danny DeVito. He could kick your fucking ass. All right, let's read another super chat here, and then we'll move on to the next caller. The Theological Handyman says, Joshua looked worse than he did versus Usyk. Wow, you know what? Guys, what do you think about that comment?
I agree, 100%. 100%. I think he looked, all right, physically he looked better. Like he lost against Usyk, absolutely, but he didn't look like he was struggling on his thoughts. He just couldn't do what he wanted because of Usyk's ability. But he was throwing better combinations. Like he was moving better. I like the way he moved. There was no movement. He came in too heavy. I don't like anything he did tonight. Anything. He fought like he didn't want to be in a fight. You know what I mean? It was like he didn't want to fight, and the other dude was happy about it. He didn't try to push it. He didn't try to jump in like, oh, this dude just tried to tie me up. I'm going to go in there swinging like a motherfucker. Because I don't think he's that, that much of a fighter either. I think he's kind of just athletic for a big tubby type guy. But it just goes to show you, man. I just, can I just say real quick? I mean, this tweet by the dude Hamanite's there, right? I mean, it's so run the money. Joshua had one great performance versus a 41-year-old Klitschko. Then Takam, boring. Parker, boring. Povetkin didn't look sharp. Ruiz got knocked out. Ruiz, boring. Pulev, he fought cautious. Usyk lost. Franklin, back to boring.
That's it?
That's his fucking career, dude.
Oh, mate. That doesn't sound like a monster. I mean, just looking at him physically, you think this guy's a monster, right? He's a knockout artist, a machine. It's not. Wow. That's terrible. All right. Well, let's take another phone call here. 917. 917, you're on the air.
Attention, BDA boxing community. Anthony Joshua with a complete shitfest, going 12 rounds.
Yes, continue.
Deontay Wilder lurking in the shadows.
Maybe. All right, he's gone. That's a good point. I think Tyson Fury is lurking in the shadows as well. He's looking at this fight. Jimmy, before we go to the next phone call, what do you think about these rumors that Fury's, now looking at Joshua as a possible opponent?
Oh, like food. Like food. Are you kidding me? That dude right there who fought tonight, Fury would pick him apart.
Oh my God, that's pathetic, man. Anyways,
yeah, if I was Wild, I'd be like, "Oh, there's my next big payday. Get that fight. I'll take that money now." Should have taken it back when you turned down that $100 and something million to take the fucking drug addict off the couch. Oops. How did that work out for you?
Good point. All right, let's take another phone call here. 908, you're on the air. 908.
Hey, what's going on? I got two questions for y'all. AJ, he looked kind of bad in his performance, but I'm thinking, like, why do you think it would have been better for him to fight White because he was the winner of the last fight? I think he would look better against White than he would against Franklin, style-wise. And I think he could even, like, knock White out. And my second question is also, if he doesn't fight Wilder or Joyce next, I don't know who else he should fight. I don't think he should get a tune-up. And I don't see the point of any other fight between besides those two guys. Those are my two questions.
Jimmy, you want to answer that one?
Yeah, no. If I was him, Carla, I'd just fucking take. He's got the money. Like, if this is it, like, what? Do you see anything? I don't see anything. It's like every fight we keep waiting for that dude to be the guy who was 5 years ago. Might as well take your money and just go to fuck home, piss on the fire, and call the dogs, man. It's a wrap. Seriously, he needed to look really good to keep. I'll tell you right now, if he has a pay-per-view, his numbers, if the next fight is like some big fight, they say Fury, the numbers are going to drop. I don't know, man. I was completely let down by his performance.
Jimmy,
but
what
then
about
again, maybe I was thinking something wasn't there. What's that,
about
Pucho?
his second question? He said that that Joshua would have probably looked better against Dylan White.
Maybe, because I think, honestly, too, it's hard for some guys like him to fight shorter dudes like that. It really isn't easy to fight a shorter guy. People think it's because you lose power punching down, and it's a different trajectory of your fight, a punch. Like, just next time you're on a bag, stop punching at a downward angle. It's odd. Yeah, I'd rather fight someone a couple inches taller than me than a guy somebody a couple inches shorter, just being honest. It's just easy to punch up in a little bit of an upward angle.
Interesting. Caller, anything else?
No. Well, yeah, I do have something else. The last question is, like, if he doesn't fight Wilder or Joyce, do you think there's anybody else he should fight? Because I think those are the only 2 fights left for him.
Jimmy, Wilder or Joyce? What about Fury? I would add Fury to that list. UK.
I don't think he looked good enough. I don't think he looked good enough to fight Fury after this performance.
Oh, I don't think he beat Fury, but
That's the
I'm
reason
saying,
why Fury will want to fight him.
would it sell, Caller? Do you think that fight would sell?
Of course it would sell, but it's hard to back Anthony Joshua after the way he looked again in this fight. It's, you know, he it's like on one hand he does need like another fight, but he's too like deep in, like he's too elite to be having these type of fight. Like, who is he gonna fight? Like Daniel Dubois? Is he gonna, like, I don't understand. Is he gonna fight Pulev again? Like, you can't, like Ortiz. There's nobody left for him to fight, I don't think, besides like a Wilder or a Joyce fight. That's the way I see it.
All right.
Unless he's just gonna fight White again. And I think this is the fight he should have fought White if he was gonna do it. I certainly don't want to see the White fight again after this fight.
And you know what sucks too, Carlo? Part of the reason we're paying so much money for DAZN, if you have the subscription like me, it's because the money they just pay this clown. Matchroom just sunk. I don't know if that passes on to DAZN, but I know Eddie Hearn just paid him a lot of money recently. I believe a lot of money after right before the first Usyk fight. So,
all right, we gotta move on. Caller, thanks for calling. All right, take care. By the way, the Theological Handyman with another super chat. Thank you. He says Fury just noted the last line and got into the gym to get ready to call out Anthony Joshua. Yeah, probably, man. Right now, tonight is his last night where he can, snort coke, do lines, and drink, and then he's headed back to the gym, calling out. He's gonna call out Anthony Joshua. I think that fight is possible. I think it would sell. Yeah, I think it's a fight that Fury wants for sure. 856, you're on the air. 856.
Hey Jim. Hey BDA. It's Jay from Jersey. Man, how y'all doing?
What's up, man? What's on your mind?
I watched the Rumble. I got a different perspective. I do agree with what Jimmy was saying, but I feel as though maybe.
Oh boy!
He only lost by like 4. He only lost the 4 points against Usyk in the last fight, but he didn't. I looked at it more of like it was maybe like a high price sparring match. Maybe I don't. Like I said, he wasn't aggressive, and I do maybe think his best days are behind him, but I think he was just trying to work on some things. His jab was a little bit was pretty decent. And I think maybe he might be working. And to agree with what you were saying with the Fury fight, I can see that just happen. I mean, it's perfect. They both get paid. It's in Wembley. It happened in Wembley. Why not? But I don't think he, like I said, I don't think he put on his best. Honestly, I think he was just working on some things and trying to figure some things out. He typically overthinks things, but yeah, I think his best days are behind him, honestly. I think, yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say on that.
All right, thanks for calling, man. Call back again next time. Take care.
And the thing is, though, Bucho, I agree with the caller, but that's what sparring's for. That's when you work things out and you figure things out and you find things. You don't do that in fights. You don't do that in fights coming off 2 losses when you need to look spectacular. He didn't just have to win. I mean, he fought that thing like he just come off getting knocked out. It wasn't just that he was just like like he wasn't pumped for the fight. It wasn't just that. oh man, it was such a letdown. He needed to look good, and he didn't.
It's not like
He needed to look
he switched
spectacular.
trainers, and then for this fight, well, let's see how everything looks. Like let's implement the plans and see how they. No, you already implemented those plans in the gym. You already looked at AJ and his mistakes, the mistakes he made against Usyk. You're supposed to have fixed those problems. It seems like there's more problems now. You know what I mean? Like, so anyways, Sursayer, thank you for your contribution. He said, salute, Bucho. We all know the truth about you and BDA being the same person. We are, well, I told you we're clones. It's like in Metal Gear Solid. You have Liquid and you have Solid Snake. Pretty much the same shit. But thank you for your contribution, man. Gonzalo, I don't know. You jumped in and out, man. What else? Let me see. We have more phone calls here. 917. You're on the air. 917.
Agent Bracket. Technical difficulties destroyed us.
I can barely hear you, man. Okay, he hung up. I don't know what the fuck. Anyways, so yeah, Jimmy. There was a caller that said that Anthony Joshua, after the Klitschko fight, he said that he never wanted to live that again or go through that again, like the tough fight, getting dropped, getting back up. And what does that tell you about his mental state?
Yeah, weak, or just he's got in the wrong profession. But again, that fight was very spirited, getting up off the canvas. That's what boxing's all about, man. The intestinal fortitude, a man being hurt, getting up, and then fucking beating the opponent. I mean, that's what gets the juices going. And that fight really did rocket him to you can never take away what he's done, and I don't take this away from him, what he did for British boxing, British heavyweight boxing, too. I mean, he really did, brought British boxing to the forefront. And, good on him for doing that. But maybe he was just one of those stars that, bright, shines bright but burns out quick. Because I'll tell you right now, at this age, this far into the thing, I mean, when you have a sample size this big, so obviously the Klitschko fight was the anomaly, right? When you have a bunch of great fights and a couple of shitty performances, you can say, okay, but for the most part, they're still great fights. But now, it's obviously an anomaly. Most of his fights suck. It's the truth. He's boring in most of his fights.
That's a great point. It's a Joshua fight that. Remember, there was even a picture that they were comparing a picture of Muhammad Ali when he knocked out. Jesus Christ, what the hell is his name?
Oh, Sonny Liston, standing over him.
Yeah, standing over him, and then they compared that picture with Joshua.
I remember that.
Yeah, Klitschko. And since then, you're right. What's that? Like you said, the saying that the stars that shine. What's it?
Stars that shine the brightest usually burn out the fastest.
Yeah, that's pretty exactly what it was. Exactly what it was. What does Joshua have to do to impress you again? I guess, or impress you? Or
I repeat what he did, but honestly, it's just not going to happen. It's just that's who he is now. Exactly. I mean, it's clearly obvious. Usyk wasn't out there because of his size. Honestly, I think looking back now, man, maybe Usyk might have fought him too cautiously. But no, that's not true. That's how he needed to do to beat him because he was fighting a lot bigger guy. But if they would have fight, I don't care who he was fighting, Fury or Wilder, I'm not picking Josh to win that fight. Because, and especially if he stays with that guy, James, because he did nothing for him. But why would you go to a guy who's got all these other dudes? You know what I mean? Like he's training, although they're PBC guys, so he's not really training them. But yeah, I didn't understand that in the first place. One thing about Garcia's fighters, for the most part, they're known to having good tanks. Like you don't fight out of a Garcia gym and take it easy. Because he won't put up with it. If you're not putting in the road work, you're getting up early. That's what made me think. I'm like, okay, because he's a disciplinarian, not an asshole, but if you want putting in the work, he ain't going to put it in with you. So I'm saying to myself, he came in heavier. He left him, did he just, I don't want to have to train that hard? Because, again, money ruins a lot of dudes, man. People got to realize that.
Underestimate the opponent? Did he underestimate him?
No, I don't think he underestimated. I think it's been overestimation on people like Hearn when he re-signed him in 2021 for, I don't know if that was an underclosed amount of money, but remember he signed him for life. He inked some deal with him. I'm sure he paid him a lot of money. And I'm sure Eddie Hearn right now is kicking himself when he asks, is Eddie Hearn's father still alive? I don't know if he is, but he must be like, there you go. That was because your friendship, because you could tell Eddie Hearn really likes Joshua. Like there's something more than just, like he really cares about him. He likes him. But I think he overhyped him, not into himself, like gave him too much. He was expecting that same Klitschko, the guy who fought Klitschko, and it hasn't been there. And he just re-signed him in 2021. After the knockout, after he beat Ruiz and right before his 2 losses, I believe. So since he re-signed him for a lifetime contract for God knows how many millions of pounds, he's fucking lost twice and put in a performance that's serious. If that fight was happening in my backyard, I'd call the police to break it up.
Jeez. So you're saying that homosexual relationship? So you're saying the homosexual relationship has blinded Eddie Hearn?
Maybe being a bottom guy just fucking, messed up his mind.
No, but seriously, I guess I mean, fuck. Because he looks like a champ, you know what I mean? Joshua just looks like a superhero. And he beats Klitschko, fuck. I mean, you're thinking, this guy, this is it. This is a guy, this is a heavyweight champion that we've been waiting for. But
take some damage and come up off the canvas and fight. You know what I mean? He was sucking air too. So he was. I mean, even after that win, I remember being a little skeptical because I was like, that dude is 41. Should you have gone that life and death with a 41-year-old?
Well, he was.
But
yeah, you're right.
It was so exciting. I overlooked that. I'm like, okay, it is what it is. But I actually, at the end of that fight, I think more people talk about how great Klitschko looked after all those years, all those boring performances. He waits till he's 41, his last fight, to give the fans this crazy fight.
By the way, Sursayer, thank you for your contribution. He says, Puro 1488. All right, thank you for that, Sursayer. Hope you're doing well. And, going back to Joshua, I don't know what else to say about this guy. We looked at his career. We could say exposed it. I mean, it is what it is. He beat a Klitschko, a 41-year-old Klitschko. It was an exciting fight. Everybody was talking about that fight right after it happened, the drama that took place. But since then, there's really hasn't been anything in Joshua's career where you go like, oh, remember that fight? Oh, look at that. Oh, look at his technique. Look how he got knocked out this guy. Nothing. It's just decisions and maybe like he stops a guy with a good punch, and that's pretty much it. And then losses.
Exactly. Yeah. Look, since Klitschko, I just tell me the good performance. Yeah, he stopped Pulev, who's horrible. You know what I mean? He is what it is. He's horrible, and he didn't look sharp. I remember the write-ups about that fight. I didn't even bother watching it because I was so pissed about. I'm like, Pulev, really? The Hungarian? Yeah, no, I'm good. Because it might even have been a pay-per-view. I don't remember, but I know I didn't bother watching it. And then I heard, I saw like the write-ups, and people say, yeah, he didn't look sharp, but he saved the best for the end of the fight, and he stopped him. But that's what it's been since Klitschko. I mean, I know. I watched that one, and that fight was fucking boring as hell. So wasn't the Parker fight. That fight didn't do nothing.
That was boring as fuck, man. That was one of his worst fights, I believe, that Parker fight. But you gotta also blame Parker because he's been in some stinkers also.
Oh, yeah, I don't even watch him, dude. I don't even watch Parker fights. To me, he doesn't even know a part of boxing.
Oh yeah.
If I hear he's fighting, I run the other way. Like, he's terrible. He's so boring.
Hey, Jimmy, what about that caller? I forgot his name. Sorry about that caller. Where he said that Fury will get exposed as well.
Well, against Wilder?
Against anybody. He just said his record is not that great.
But Franklin was he spent too much time. Like, it was times he could have swung, but he was too busy reaching out and grabbing him. I'm gonna tie you up. Like, dude, what are you tying him up, boy, dude? You're the big guy in there. Look at you. You got 5 inches or 4 inches on the dude, 20 fucking something pounds and a 5-inch reach. You're reaching out and grabbing this dude like he's Mike Tyson.
I think he's
the fuck, bro.
Jimmy. Even AJ's corner told him to stop clinching.
Yeah, dude, he didn't want to engage. He did not want to make a fight of it. That's where the fight's going to be, right there in the pocket. Boom, let's start throwing hands.
To me, that's fear, Jimmy. That's my opinion.
Shot, he tied up.
My opinion. He that's fear of engaging, of getting hit, and this reminds me of Vladimir Klitschko after he got stopped by Corey Sanders and Lehman Brewster. He changed his style, man, into a more of a clinch, jab and clinch. He was. It's like those knockouts affected him. It seems like furious, and this is what also happened with AJ, in my opinion. And like you said, maybe he's getting dropped in sparring.
Yep, you could be getting hurt in sparring, and everybody knows when they've been hurt. Like, did that kid Franklin catch him with a shot enough that rang his bell to the point where then he just changed everything? Like, oh shit, I'm not getting knocked out in front of all my fucking here in London. Is that where they fought? Was it London? I would imagine the O2.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't remember where they were fighting, but in England, he was probably. Then he figured, I'll just use my size, jab him, tie him up, because he did not fight like someone who wanted to look exciting. You can't, and he knows that.
Exactly.
You can't tell me he didn't know that he wasn't looking exciting. So something happened that made him say, "Yeah, no, I'm not going to try to fight this dude. Try to make an exciting fight to his own detriment." Because when you got Eddie Hearn after the fight making excuses for him, so Eddie Hearn knows the fight was horrible. And of course, he's what I heard before I called in. I stopped listening because I was going to call on the show. But Eddie Hearn was going on about trainers. Well, this is his third trainer. Then what the fuck, Eddie? You know, did you say that before? Did you warn everybody that, you know, hey, don't expect too much from him?
Exactly.
No, you were talking about he was going to murder the dude.
Well, then it's always an excuse. Oh, I'm too big. Oh, this is my trainer, my third trainer, and what's next? You know, like what's the next excuse? And by the way, Sergeant United States Marine Corps in the chat says he's afraid to get hit and has no stamina to recover with all the muscle. Bad combination.
Yep, excellent point.
He's afraid to get hit. It's just disappointing, man. Disappointing.
Yeah, very disappointing.
You know why he's disappointing? He's a big name.
Unfortunately, we get too many of those in boxing lately. I just find like we say that so much now. It's either disappointing that fights don't get made. When they do get made, we get like this. Even that fight before, man. I cannot believe that ref stopped that fight. He jumped in. That dude wasn't even rocked. You know what I mean, David? Oh, it was like, oh my God, you hit him. What were you think? What was the ref like? Oh, I wouldn't want to be hit like that. Let me jump in. That was just crazy.
And AJ is a big name in the sport of boxing. So we just lost one. You know, it's one. He was one of those guys that actually transcends the sport somewhat. You know what I mean?
He just transcended it back into fucking Palookaville, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I'm not circling the calendar when he's fighting. Like, if I'm not doing nothing, if I don't have to, like, rearrange my sock drawer or clean the garage, I'll watch him. But I'm not going out of my way to watch, you know, I got to make sure I'm going to be around to watch the Joshua fight. Fuck that.
Why?
Imagine if that was a pay-per-view. Oh, Jesus.
Why did people get excited about Joshua fights? Like,
Joshua, for the Klitschko. After that Klitschko fight.
Yeah, but what was the selling?
You know what I mean? The stuff, gold medalist, you have that Klitschko fight, it comes up off the ground. Got everybody's juices going.
But Jimmy, what did they make you believe that you were going to witness when you bought a AJ fight?
Someone with killer power who could knock people out and with intestinal fortitude. Someone who's not afraid to get it and mix it up. He'll take a shot and give a shot. But even after that Klitschko fight, he started with the calm. It was people made excuses. Oh, calm never looks good against anybody. But you know, it's up to you to look good against somebody. You force your will. And again, that dude was fighting like he was the smaller man. Am I lying? Tell me if I'm lying or being overhyped.
Fighting like he's the one. It's the other guy that should be scared. It's the other guy, the smaller guy, that should be scared. Not you, the big guy, the former champion.
No, I know exactly, brother. It was terrible.
Imagine
so
going paying for a fight. you're watching this giant Leviathan monster. You're expecting him to knock out that little guy. You're not expecting him to. You're not expecting him to clinch, to stink out the joint. You're not expecting 12 rounds. Why would you even want to see this guy again? Give me a good reason why I should watch Joshua again. Give me a good reason, please.
Because next time he's really going to do it. I suspect he's going to change trainers again.
Oh.
I would imagine if I was fucking Eddie Hearn, I'd be like, do something. I invested a lot of money into you, dude. A lot of money into you. Now you don't have no belts. Nobody's going to be clamoring for that fucking any big fight with him. I don't know. If I was Wilder, man, I'd be on the phone right now going, make that fight. Make that fight. This dude is mentally washed. Like, he does not want to be hit.
He doesn't want to get hit.
Doesn't want to get he doesn't want to have his chin checked at all.
Jimmy, this is something related to what you're talking about right now. Sargent in the chat says guys like Zhang and Hergovich will never be the best heavyweights, but at least they slugged it out and gave us our money's worth. Well, these guys have to fight it out because they know that if they lose, it's pretty much over. Maybe that's what it is. No, Jimmy, AJ knows that he can just go 12 rounds, survive, and he still has a next fight again, you know?
Especially when, again, well, that's what happens when your promoter gives you a lifetime contract. You know, you're under contract till you retire, so I would imagine Eddie's going to ride that till the wheels come off to try to recoup that money. But then again, man, he needs to hear from the fans, but he's such a soft fucking dude. He really, I mean, just the way he acted after that last fight. I remember his performance against Usyk, how he melted down, even though he looked better than he did in the first fight, but he had a fucking complete emotional meltdown.
Yeah. That doesn't sound like a champion.
No, and then he started acting like a knucklehead at the end of this fight. Oh, now you're going to get aggressive? It's like, dude, you had fucking 12 rounds to beat the dude up.
Exactly.
Now you're going to do it after the fight?
Not only that, Jimmy, if you're not going to get aggressive against Flabby Franklin, when are you going to get aggressive? Well, when you fight Joe Joyce? When you fight Deontay Wilder? When you fight Tyson Fury? When are you going to get aggressive? Never. How many chances do we have to give AJ to show us how aggressive he is, you know? He's a big guy. Never. He fought Ruiz second time, stunk out the joint. He also fought very cautiously.
Yep. And we all gave him an excuse for that, as he got knocked out. So because of that, including myself, I said, well, I understand he did what he had to do to win, get back on the winning, column, get his hand raised, get that confidence back. But then he comes back and he loses to Usyk. Well, no, didn't he fight? Was it Pulev after that? Yeah, it was that. And he fought cautious. And he fought kind of not good. So, yeah, then that's when he got stopped after that. So, yeah, we just haven't seen that fighter. That fighter has not been seen since Klitschko. And I would say it wasn't even so much the Ruiz fight. I think he was fighting Saki before that. I think Ruiz just made him start on top of fighting boring. Not now he questions his chin. And he doesn't want to get hit. Yeah, he'd rather be boring than get knocked out. Where I'd rather get knocked the fuck out and have the crowd fucking cheering. Like, dude, man, you gave it your all, man. You made a great fight. Hey, that was a great fight, dude. You got caught there at the end. But give it your all, dude. It's a fight. Motherfucker, fight.
Yeah, you get knocked out, that's fine, but people see they're not stupid. They see when a fighter puts in the effort. Right? The outcome might not be what you wanted, but the effort is going to be appreciated.
Yep. I mean, Muhammad Ali, the reason why, you're after 3 years out of the army and, it was out of the pros for 3 years. He still come back. He was in wars and stuff, but it was the fact that he would, like the rope-a-dope against George Foreman. Like, that was crazy to let that dude beat on him like that. And he come back to win, and Frazier, and he would just always dig down the intestinal fortitude. There's a reason 70 million people tuned in. No, actually, was it 100 million? It was crazy. I know it was the largest watched sporting event, and it was crazy, but that was the reason why, man. That you had the fans just knew you got a guy who wasn't going to quit. It was exciting. That was just. You look back, that fight. I mean, think about that. Would you keep that fight in your? If you had that in your.
Yeah, record.
Would you record that fight or watch it again on fucking YouTube? No.
No, nobody's ever gonna watch this fight again. Ever. It's gonna disappear in fucking history. Somebody said, King KO says, AJ didn't show that dog. He didn't show that dog, man. No dog. And Epagarcua says, Jimmy on fuego. You're on fire, man.
I just, I hate being the cynical guy because I know I think about him like I'm always negative and shit, but the sport just gives you so much to be negative about. He needed to wow us. I'd rather have had him get caught and get knocked out again, but fucking fight like a motherfucker. You know what I mean? I know that he wouldn't, but God, man. Because now people are going to question his heart. People are going to question, like, what is he even doing? Is he only fighting because he's still under contract? He feels obligated? Because he's made ridiculous money. Like, ridiculous money.
Yeah, because
I can't stress enough. Oh, sorry, Bucho, go.
No, it just seems like the way they're gonna sell you his next fight is just like, well, you're gonna witness or watch the former champion fight again. That's it. But there's like no storyline. Like, where is he headed? Like, is he looking for another title shot, or what is it? Because it seems like the performance doesn't seem like he really wants to become champion again. It just seems like I'm just there to fight again. Look at me. I'm the former world champion.
Yeah. An event. A reason to go out of the house, I guess. I don't know.
Yes, exactly. That's it.
But yeah, the crowd wasn't into it. I'll tell you right now, the crowd was mumbling, murmuring, going on and shit. Yeah, no, people weren't happy with that performance. The crowd was dead. It wasn't. Everybody was waiting. For that, all right, this round he's going to turn it on. This is the round. He was just feeling him out. He was just feeling him out in the first round. Next, it's the 7th round, in the 10th round, and nothing's changing. Tying him up every time he gets close to him. Fighting like a scared dude. He doesn't want to get hit. Oh, terrible.
Yeah, I think this is the end of Joshua. He will fight again, obviously, but don't expect anything from him. He doesn't have it in him. He doesn't. That was proven tonight once more.
And in the zone, even in the announcers, Bucho was ripping into him. They were like, that just was not the performance we were expecting. This was not the performance you needed from him to get people's, juices flowing again. Man, Joshua's fighting. Nobody's saying that now. I'm telling you, he didn't do no favors for his career. Did no favors to Eddie Hearn. If I was Eddie Hearn, I'd be fucking heated. I'd have been, dude, what was that? That was a little fucking dude. Franklin, who is he?
Well, Jimmy,
his claim to fame is going a distance with fucking White? Like, seriously? That's a dude you're clenching like he's Mike Tyson? Fuck is the matter with you?
Jimmy, do you think they scouted this guy, Franklin?
Well, I'm sure they looked at the video on him out there. They saw his size. And if you look at any video, that dude has never been in shape. I mean, he's always, flabby and shit. So that's who he is. He's just one of those flabby kids who's a decent athlete. Can, stick and move a little, but he's just not. Listen, that guy's never going to be heavyweight champion. That was the guy. Listen, they picked him on purpose. He went the distance with White. Didn't really ever hurt White. So clearly they expected him to knock him out, and they were talking like he was going to knock him out, and we were going to see, the hungry AJ and the commercials with him training and, spent a lot of money on commercials. You could tell they weren't like just shot with a cell phone. They had hired people to go out and do shoots. So that's all money out of Eddie's pocket. If I was Eddie, I'd be fucking heated.
Well, it's logical, and I'm pretty sure Eddie Hearn expected this. He was telling people what they wanted to see. He wanted to see a hungry AJ show up for his comeback and knock out Franklin. But this isn't a comeback performance at all. I mean, I don't want to see Joshua again.
No.
Chet Collins in the chat says, I told Sean on his show that AJ is done at the top, and he didn't agree. Well, let's see what Sean has to say, Sean Newton. I mean, after this performance, it seems like AJ is done. It seems like he's done. Rapax Trucking Company, thank you. No, he didn't super chat, but he's a member. So thank you for being a member. He says, Jimmy in Mexican. That's right. Jimmy is Jimmy in Mexican. I don't know what else to say about this fight. Maybe we should end the show, I guess. There's another show tomorrow since we have fights later on tonight.
Alrighty, my brother.
All
like
right.
I said, it was, I just, as long, so it wasn't just me. I'm like, God damn it. I remember going to be calling and all fucking miserable again. And people are like, geez, this guy's never happy with anything he sees. But I just was so upset. I'm just glad I wasn't the only one. I wasn't
Everybody,
seeing things.
Jimmy, we all agree on this. And the people in the chat are calling us haters. They're just people they're probably from Nigeria. I'm going to have to say it. It's true. They're from Nigeria. They support AJ. Well, they're AJ fanboys. They just can't.
But the thing is, why don't they call in and tell us how we're wrong? Tell us exactly how we're wrong.
What are they going to say, Jimmy? They won't call in.
Exactly. They can't. So they're going to just sit there and say stuff in the chat. Like, just call in and say, no, you're wrong, because look at this is what he did. I'm telling you right now, I just went on Twitter to see. He's getting roasted. Roasted. Nobody thought that was a good performance.
They probably do believe that a new trainer hasn't really, had enough time to work with AJ, and maybe in his next fight they will see those changes. I don't know, man.
All right, Bucho, you go to a store, you drop $300 on a leather jacket, right? Or a piece of article or clothing. You get home, the fucking sleeve starts to fall off. Like, Jesus Christ, man. You call back, goes, oh, sorry, we just opened the company. We haven't got really figured out how to make these really good yet. Like, my point being, you're a consumer. I don't want to hear, that's a you problem, motherfucker. You know what I mean? You're supposed to be an elite heavyweight. And you're not fighting like an elite heavyweight. You're giving us garbage, scared performances. You fought nervous against a fucking dude who ain't a power puncher.
Who's to blame? You blame the trainer or you blame the fighter? You know what I mean?
Well, I don't think Derek James. Listen, Derek James is good in some cases, but then again, it could be a lot of the fighters he has. I don't know, but I'll tell you right now, I would have stayed with Robert Garcia. I don't think there was anything wrong with the way he fought. Because I said even after I thought the last fight against Usyk was the best AJ's looked in years. In years. Because I thought he was moving good for a big guy. I was actually like, okay, that's cool. A couple more times with Garcia, man. Just keep doing what you're doing, bro. But then you come back 255 heavier than you ever were.
And he says that he
one
doesn't look
punch
at
in
his
the
weight.
motherfucker. Come on.
And he says he doesn't look at his weight. I don't know, Jimmy. For heavyweights, obviously there's no weight limit, but do they have to still check their weight?
Of course. Sorry, I'm choking.
Yeah.
But of course they do. It becomes a part where you can't get your second wind because you're carrying too much weight. If you have too much muscle along with that weight, you're pushing oxygen all around your body that you're not using to fight.
Yeah. I mean, he should...
I wouldn't be happy with it.
Yeah, he should be checking his weight if he's not checking his weight. I mean, there's just physically, I mean, if he's above a certain weight, he becomes stiff, slow, and like we all been saying forever, you start tiring quicker.
Look at like guys like Muhammad Ali. Look at how he was built. He had a wide back. You do pull-ups. You want wiry muscle. You want long, thin muscle. Is much better. You know what I mean? You don't want to look like a bodybuilder or a football player in there. That's not the kind of build you want to have as a fighter.
Well,
so I tell fighters, man, stay away from weights.
Jimmy,
use everything high, like plyometrics and whatnot.
He likes to take a lot of pictures.
Exactly. I think he likes fucking getting laid, and likes to get his Instagram pictures in there.
Mm-hmm.
But again, all the talk, man, it was all talk that This was not going to be that type of performance. He was going out there. This was a statement. Joshua is back. Yeah.
Yes.
Back to being boring.
Exactly. Well, Jimmy, we're going to have to end the show, I guess. We've talked enough about this
All
fight.
right, my brother. Yeah, right. There's only so much we can do. Only so much we can talk about that.
Exactly.
Hey, if anybody's left listening, man, do me a favor. Hit a thumbs up on that. Or, you can say that we're fucking negative douchebags, right? Whatever. Just write something leave a message of some kind. So the BDA Crimson Tide can get pushed for everybody.
All right. Thank you for that, Jimmy. And
all right.
I'll talk to you next time. All right. Take care.
All right, Bucho. Peace.
All right, everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining us on this special episode. We will have another episode tomorrow where we talk more about this fight and the other fights that will be taking place later on. And thank you to all the super chatters. Thank you for super chatting. And yep, we'll see you next time. Take care.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in everyone. Totally disappointed in everyone.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in everyone.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He just killed a little fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. Yeah, because you got nothing. Lobito! You got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA Boxing.